This week in VCT episode 2, where I now have two teams who have now been confirmed to Master Shanghai. Clove makes their VCT debut, and is there an actual possible chance that Sentinels might actually make it to the playoffs? But before we get into all of that, let's first talk about some breaking news that's been happening this week. Let's first start off with fl1p. He has now officially benched himself from RRQ. He's now a restricted free agent, which is a bit surprising to be honest, because obviously yes, he's had a bit of interest, I guess a bit of a slow start to the season for RRQ. RRQ as a whole has actually been not too bad. That might be also because that Jemkin has been popping off and stuff, but still, it's not too bad from RRQ, right? Well, apparently not according to the management over in RRQ, or maybe it was fl1p who wanted to be benched, but either way, he is now a restricted free agent, so he could maybe join another team. Not really too sure, but I generally do hope that he does at least either join back RRQ or joins another team, because I think he is a very good player, obviously a support player, in fact, very good anchor player, but I mean, maybe RRQ is maybe RRQ is not the best team for him, but I still think he's still a pretty good player to be at least in tier 1. The next breaking news is another Pacific related, that being Team Secret. They now have a new assistant coach by the name of Dummy. He used to be a professional player for TF2, Apex Legends, and Overwatch. And obviously his first match, obviously as the assistant coach, was in the playoffs against T1. We'll get into that later. And I think maybe the biggest breaking news from this week is this shocking investigation in Malaysia and Singapore against this guy's player JayH. Apparently as well, JayH, he knew about the investigation like everyone else on Twitter. And it was later announced. I think Malaysia Singapore, the challenges region of Malaysia Singapore, they gave him, I think, what, like 48 hours to respond to the possible match fixing claims, which apparently, reading more into it, it was just him betting on himself in his pajamas. Like, how's that match fixing? Like, he's not really helping himself, because yes, Nip, they weren't really that good in China, which was where JayH was playing for. So it's a weird situation there. I think it's all resolved. Obviously, I might be wrong, but it's such a weird thing that JayH got punished for match fixing, which we all thought was actually actual match fixing. And it's weird that it's not the first time that Malaysia Singapore had to look into a player in that region about match fixing. Obviously I made a video about another Malaysia Singapore player by the name of Vont, I'm pretty sure, who was suspended because he was match fixing. So it's kind of weird that it's happened twice in Malaysia Singapore, and this is only like a split one kind of. So it's strange, and considering that he only bet himself apparently, even stranger. But it's something that we're gonna be talking about. Probably not anymore, I'll be honest. Considering I think the whole controversy is over. But considering he didn't know until like they posted onto Twitter, onto social media, is really saying something of how shitty the communication is between the Malaysia Singapore Challengers organization and the players. That's all down to breaking news. Let's now first talk about Americas. First, start off with MIBR. Obviously, they have been eliminated from playoff contention, and I think they're going to be playing, I think, one more game, I'm pretty sure, which I can't actually remember on top of my head who's that up against. But either way, they're now eliminated from playoff contention, so that doesn't really matter, I'll be honest. Let's now talk about a team that did actually play this week, that being Furia, who was also eliminated from playoff contention. They played 2 matches, 2 America teams, Cloud9 and Sentinels, and they lost both of them. Oh boy, I'm worried about Furia, because I remember last year they were like a top team possibly in America, and now they are maybe the second worst team, if not maybe worse than MIBR. But to be fair, I think MIBR is probably worse than Furia. But it's really saying something that none of them have won, I don't think. So I'm worried for Furia. Like, this is like 2021, not really, but like, I guess if we're talking about like international events, this is like 2021 Furia, where they kind of struggled in champs, but like, it's I don't know. I mean, like Khalil and Nosworth, they were like maybe like the only like shining like stars, I guess we'll say. But it's still like, I mean, Cloud9 was pretty close. I'll give them that. Very very close there against Cloud9. Sentinels not close whatsoever, but getting a bit worried there for Furia. Another team which has not played yet is Loud. They're gonna be playing against G2, and that's gonna be a very interesting match because that will basically because Loud, they had the opportunity to actually make it to the playoffs after a very very slow start to stage one. I think EG is the only team that have not. I think Loud and EG, that they're both going to be versing each other to see who actually makes it to the playoffs. So it's gonna be either Loud or EG. So with Loud going up against G2 and G2 looking pretty good, it's gonna be an interesting match here for Loud. Evil Geniuses, they won against NRG, Jogmer again MVP. This EG team has surprised me. I mean, but to be fair, Potter is coaching, which I'm not surprised about because Potter, she is a phenomenal coach. So there's no doubt about it. But Jogmer, he did a phenomenal job. I think like the whole team did a really good job as well. So like Apoth has really surprised me. Like I knew like Nature, I knew he was gonna be decent. I knew Superman, he was gonna be pretty good. Derek from Overwatch, he was gonna clutch up rounds. And Jogmer, we know how good Jogmer is. I was just very worried about Apoth, but Apoth, he has surprised me with some really good performances this entire season. Stage one, bit of kickoff, not really, but in stage one, he has surprised me. So I think Apoth, even if EG doesn't make it to the playoffs, if Loud does win against against G2, then I generally think I generally think EG, they should be pretty happy of how they performed, because me included, I doubted them to maybe be probably not really, maybe not really where Furia and MRER are, but I thought they were gonna like struggle at least, maybe the worst team in North America. But I mean, they've been pretty decent. They've been like all right actually. So EG, not too bad from them, I'll be honest. But I mean, Jogma, he's just putting the team on his back, so I'm not really surprised there. But oh no, a pretty decent showing there from EG in this stage. The opposite of impressive, NRG, they have been eliminated from playoff contention after losing both of their games against EG and 100 Thieves. Ethan was maybe the best player in that, in both of those games, EG and 100 Thieves. He was maybe like the best player. Like Demon 1, where is he? Victor, where is he? Crashies, where is he? Marv, where is he? No one else other than Ethan, I swear. Like, I guess it kind of shows that super teams, they don't really work out. I mean, you can maybe say Fnatic, Loud even, they definitely worked out. But as in like other, I guess like maybe like North America super teams to say. Like last year was like Cloud9. Cloud9, everyone thought, oh, Cloud9, they're gonna win everything. Like they have like Yay, they have Vandy, who's a phenomenal idea. They have Zeppa, they have Zelsith. It was just like, well, maybe Cloud9 might actually really be good last year, and they kind of flopped until they got Rooney and Jake in, and then they just popped off somehow. And this is kind of what I'm getting the vibes off as well from NRG. Like they have like championship players of Demon One and Ethan. They have international winners as well with Victor, Crashes, and Marved. And they have not been anywhere in this entire season. I hope that NRG makes a change or turns their season around, because it's getting to the point where I'm getting very worried for NRG. And considering pretty sure they said, I think before the season started, that if they don't make it to an international event, that's just a horrible year for them. They haven't made it to Madrid. They have not made it to Shanghai. Their only option is to make it to Champions Korea. And if they don't make it to Korea, that will be an abysmal season for NRG. Next up is G2, who have not played in this week, but they will be going up against Loud. Now, I think what the thing is that if G2 wins, I think it was the 13 rounds, I'm pretty sure, then they will make it to the playoffs over Sentinels. So basically, Sentinels, they're gonna be cheering. They're basically gonna be cheering for Loud, the other team who made it to Masters Madrid. It's kind of weird as well that both teams are struggling, but obviously, enough about them. G2, throughout this stage one season, they've been kind of where I expect them to be, mid pack, but obviously can like win against like the top team is like Leviathan, Crew, Sentinels, I guess we'll say, Cloud9, 100 Thieves. Like they definitely are up there in like mid pack where like C900 Thieves are. but I don't think they're really where like Crew or Leviathan are, in my opinion. So they're kind of where I expected them to be, which is pretty good. Let's talk about 100 Thieves, because my god, have they had like a freaking resurgence. They have now clinched their spot into the playoffs after, yes, they lost against Crew, but they did win a single map, which I'm pretty sure took them into a playoff contention. So they have now made their playoff spot. They also won against NRG, so their record was 1-1. MVPs include Cryocells for Crew and Asuna for NRG. So 100 Thieves, they are I mean, they are now the saviors of Sentinels. Like, I swear to God. So every Sentinels fan are now buying the bloody 100 Thieves bundle. I can bet now. So for 100 Thieves as a whole, they have been really, really good. They have like from where they were in South Stage 1, they've turned around. Like, I thought they were just giving me in the 3rd and 4th region. They're now 2nd in their group. So really impressive there from 100 Thieves. And it's a great showing there. I'm like, EU, he's now back to his M80 form. The comms are obviously a lot better. Cryocells, he's been looking really good. Bucio, he's now back to his like EG days where he was like maybe contention of one of the best IGLs in the world. And Bang, he's been pretty consistent. So go showing there from him, one from 100 Thieves. Really, really good. Cloud9, the team which is basically formed around Oxy, they won against Furia, when the next game will be against MIBR, which I just saw. Oxy getting MVP. I mean, what else I really had to say about Cloud9 other than just Oxy just being Oxy? I don't know what else to say. Just like Oxy, he's just ripping it up right now. He's just tearing it up in Cloud9. So it is a great. It's amazing that they picked up that Cloud9 picked up Oxy. I think as well, Moose in the lineup is a great showing as well. With I guess a stronger support lineup we'll say, or anchor lineup we'll say as well. So Cloud9, they're looking pretty good now. We'll see with how they go in the playoffs, but it's going to be a bit murky there, I'll be honest, for Cloud9, but I think they'll be pretty good there either way. Leviathan, I guess the only true super team in Americas will say. They won against Crew. It was a very close game though, 2-1, and obviously that was the only game that they played. And obviously, like I mentioned before in the first episode, they clinched a spot into the playoffs. Aspas once again gained MVP. I guess it's kind of like Cloud9. I mean, Leviathan, they built around Aspas, and Aspas just farms and carries. But to be fair, the players like Mazzino, Comtex, King, they've been also pretty good as well. They've been solid support play as well for Aspas. So it's great, I'll be honest, that Leviathan has the star player of Aspas, that everyone else can always work around him and give him all the util and the support that he needs. So great showing there from Leviathan. I guess also shows well, especially to Furia, that if you actually put your support into one player, it can actually work out if, you know, the supporters ride and there's obviously a good amount of util and stuff. So I like what Leviathan's doing. Really, really excited to see how they go into playoffs. Another team as well, which I'm really excited about, is the other LATAM team of Crew Esports. They played 2 matches and they won against 100 Thieves and they lost against Leviathan. Kesned, this is like 2021, 2022 Kesned now. Like, I was not expecting him just to like shot up this much. And I guess moving back to Crew, because he was with Leviathan last year for a bit, moving back to Crew was maybe the best decision of his entire career. He has looked entirely in home. But same time, he didn't play at all, I don't think, in Leviathan. I don't think he was really happy there. The culture wasn't really there for him. But now he's back with Crew. He's back with some familiar players. He's been phenomenal. So it's a great showing there. He is doing a great job as well, being very, very consistent. And like I mentioned before in my first episode, MTA, I feel bad for him. I do hope that he at least can rebuild his career, because this is reminding me a lot of Hyoni. Man, I don't know if a lot of new Valorant players know who Hyoni is, but basically it's Hyoni he's a Korean player who played Duelist. He then joined New Turn Gaming, got used horribly there. I think he was like a Sentinel player. It's basically where like MTA is basically. Like he was a Duelist player, he was a promising Duelist player coming up in the LATAM region, and it was on Sentinel, and he was shit. And now he got replaced. That's basically how Hyoni was as well. Like he got replaced. So it's sad for MTA, but I'm happy for Crew that they have came out of nowhere, really. They're now currently second in the standings. And the team which is currently first is, surprise, surprise, Sentinels. They did win against Furia, which I guess was one tick into their possible journey to make it to the playoffs. Tens obviously get MVP. And all they now need to do is for Loud to win to basically demolish them. So I think if like Loud wins, let's just say 13-4 on the first map and 13-3 on the second map, then Sentinels will be in. So it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be interesting there for Sentinels, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. I generally think G2 is gonna make it to the playoffs because Sentinels, from how they've been performing and the threshold that they basically need to make the playoffs by, which is like 13 rounds, I'm pretty sure. There's no way. I'm sorry, but there's no way Sentinels is gonna make it to the playoffs. I'm sorry. I'm a doubter. I'm a hater. I'm playing devil's advocate here because from how they've been performing from where they were in Miles Madrid and kickoff, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I'll be honest. They generally don't deserve it. So G2 as a whole, from like if we're talking about stage 1 as a whole, G2 they look better than Sentinels, my opinion. So G2 should win against Loud, but Loud they have been steadily climbing up. We'll say they've been steadily just climbing up the ranks, and possibly they could maybe get a win against G2 because G2 they've also made some questionable moves as well in games. There's some questionable calls, so there's a chance. But I just don't see a world where Sentinels makes it to the playoffs and G2 misses out. I just don't see that. So, but obviously, that's in my opinion. So obviously, everyone here in the comments could obviously be wrong. But comment down below, do you see Sentinels making it to the playoffs? And is it a possibility? Because I don't really see that in my opinion. All right, moving on now to China. First up with JD Gaming. Oh boy. All right. So JD Gaming, they have been eliminated from playoff contention, and they played 2 matches, one against Bilibili and the other one against Wolves, and they actually won. They won against Wolves Esports, but then they lost against Bilibili Gaming. Viva, he was MVP on Bilibili, and Martin, he had an amazing game against Wolves. If you have seen my analysis video on Wolves and JD Gaming, you would know how much praise I was giving to Martin. Like JD Gaming, they made some super change. I guess some questionable things that's been happening in that game against Wolves. Wolves made a lot more questionable stuff, but it was some great showing there from JD Gaming, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that stage 2 will be a much better stage than what stage 1 was in kickoff, because they've only won twice. They have not won a single if they can win at least 3 games in stage 2, I think that'll be very, very impressive. And if they and as well, if they somehow make it to champions in stage 2, I'll be extremely impressed of the resilience and just the bounce back of that team. Let's now talk about Nova Esports. They lost against All Gamers, Swell get MVP. I just don't know what else to say about Nova. I mean, they are just a background team that I have tried my hardest to put my focus on them, but then they kind of just flop. Like, it's a team that I kind of forget are in partnership, which is quite strange, because normally I would remember every single team that is in partnership, but Nova is kind of that team that I just forgot are actually in partnership. But I don't think they have a chance of making the playoffs. I think they're like 1-3 or something, so I don't think there's a chance that they'll make it to playoffs unless something big happens. I think with Billy Gaming, I'm pretty sure. But I just don't see them making the playoffs, I'll be honest. They have been just kind of where I expect them to be, in like the bottom half of the team. So I'm just not surprised at where they are, I'll be honest. It's kind of just where I expect them to be. Alright, let's now talk about Wolves Esports. They lost against JD Gaming, like I mentioned beforehand. Eurocall again MVP. They've also been eliminated from playoff contention. I don't know what this team is cooking or just smoking as well, because on paper they have been like if we're just looking at their roster, they're actually a pretty good team. Like, it's actually alright. Like, they have Spring as like the star duelist. You have Yuriko who can flex. I'm just not a big fan of Plex as the IG, I'll be honest. I think there are better. I think, in my opinion, there are better IGLs out there. I just don't really like his IGL style, would say. I don't really like how he leads a team. Like, there are much better, like, Yeoman. Like, they could have easily actually gotten Yeoman, but I don't really know how they communicate. I think it is in Mandarin. So it'll be difficult for Yeoman because I'm pretty sure right now they communicate in English, which is still pretty impressive. And they actually still communicate in English in JD Gaming, which is pretty cool. But I'm not really too sure if Yeoman can actually speak Mandarin. If so, that's really good. But I mean, from where, well, obviously where Yeoman is right now with Nongshim Red Falls, which were like really competitive in Korea, I don't think he really wants to leave. But I hope between Masters, I guess Sage 1 and Sage 2, I just hope that Wolves at least make a changes to their roster, because this is not going to work if they continue with this roster that they have right now. Titanium Sports Club, they have not played as of right now this week, and I'm trying to remember who they are playing up against. It might be Trace Esports, actually, I'm pretty sure, but they have not played this week, so let's just move on. Tyloo, they won against Dragon Range Gaming, the Ascension team, which was very unexpected. AK gained MVP for that, so Tyloo, they've been looking alright. They look better from where they were in kickoff, I'll say that. If there was like a comparison between the old Tyler Ross and kickoff and the new Tyler Ross and Stage 1, the Stage 1 Ross looks so much better. Like, I think they have, what, like 2 wins, I'm pretty sure. Yes, they eliminated though from playoff contention, but they look really good. And this is a good stepping stone and a good building block for Tyler for Stage 2. Because, I mean, either I don't think they're out of it right now in for champions. They could still possibly make it the champions. But, I mean, they need a miracle at least to make it the champs. But this is a great start for the rebuild of Tyloo, because now they have an actual promising head coach for Shy. They now have some great pieces and players. There's now a good showing there from Tyloo. Oh boy, the team that I love to bag on Billy Gaming as they play 2 matches. One against JD Gaming and the other one against fl1p Phoenix. 1-1. They won against JD, but then lost against FPX. Knight was MVP on JD Gaming, while Yosemite was MVP on FPX. It's kind of where I expect them to be, I'll be honest. And they still are playing with Levius. So I think Bianc is the IGL of this team. Maybe it's Knight. I actually literally don't know who the IGL for this team is. I have no idea. So if someone could tell me, that'd be great. Because now Bear is now off the team. He's not the IGL. And I don't really know how they are now without Bear, to be honest. Like, I just can't tell if they're better or not, because they look exactly the same from where they were with Bear. So I don't really know, but something maybe needs a change. But I guess if they keep practicing, if they keep scrimming with Levias in the lineup, then they could be pretty good. But they need a lot more changes than just changing their IGL. Maybe a coaching staff, because I don't think Bale's really cut for him. I think if you maybe put Jackson in back in the coach, that'd be great. But I don't know. We'll see. Trace Esports, they have not played this week as well. And I think they're also still in contention making it to playoffs, I believe. So there's still a chance there for Trace to make it, but we'll see what really happens there for Trace. I think in the next match, which I can't actually remember who it is. Maybe it is against TC, maybe against Nova. I actually can't remember who it is up against, but either way, hopefully Trace probably will make it to the playoffs. We'll see. Dragon Ranger Gaming. They have not clinched their spot into playoffs. Even though they lost against Tyloo, they still made it. I think it was because I think it was the previous game. I can't remember what the previous game was, I'll be honest, against Tyloo, before Tyloo and Dragon Rage Gaming. But whatever happened that game, I think that secured Dragon Rage Gaming a spot in the playoffs. Vakash getting MVP against Tyloo. It was just a shocking performance from Dragon Rage Gaming as a whole. Like, yes, like Vakash, yes, he was MVP, but it was still a shocking performance. Like, to be honest, like, he wasn't where he would normally be of destroying the opposing team. Like, Tyler, they just had his number. They absolutely destroyed Dragon Range Gaming. So I was a bit surprised on that. And considering now that they have now made it to the playoffs and there's some weak spots now for Dragon Range Gaming, whoever's going to be versing them in the first round of playoffs, they're going to have some pretty good books against DRG. But DRG as a whole, for Dragon Range Gaming, they need to learn from their mistakes, because if they are going to be a possible Master Shanghai team, they need to at least have a good playbook, because I'm not really seeing a lot of that, I'll be honest. But they could easily bring it back. If you would have told me that All Gamers is now inside of the top 3 at the end of stage 1, I'll be laughing at you. But here they are in the top 3. They won against Nova, but then they lost against Edward Gaming, which is not surprising whatsoever. So it was 1-1. They'll be getting MVP on both of them. I don't know what to say. I mean, All Gamers, they have surprised me. I guess it's mainly Delb. Delb, he has surprised me so much. Like, yeah, I'll say that. Like, Sword 9, he's been alright. Spitfires, he's also been alright. Buns and Monks, they've been pretty good as well. Both of them have had some great performances. But it's mainly been Delb. Delb, he's just been, like, really, really good. And carrying this team, I'll be honest, on his back. And with them now in 3rd place, I'm very surprised with All Gamers. I think they also have a chance to make it to playoffs, I believe. So they could easily get more points, possibly, if they do make it to playoffs. But we'll see what really happens. But I am extremely, extremely impressed with All Gamers. From where they were, where I expect them to be, like the bottom of the at the bottom of the table. They're now at the top of the table. Very, very impressed with them. Very, very good there from All Gamers. fl1p Phoenix, they whipped out the Clove. Yes, Clove made their VCT debut because of fl1p Phoenix, where they did a triple controller double initiator comp on Icebox, and they dismantled Bilibili Gaming. And speaking of that, they did obviously win against them 1-0. Well, not obviously 1-0, but obviously that's a record considering that they only played against Bilibili Gaming. Lice again MVP, but I do want to give out a shout out to Life, because he is the first player to now play Clove. That is maybe the last player you would expect to play Clove, but he played Clove, and it didn't go well for Life, but for FPX, it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, 13-2 on Icebox is something else. So I don't know what Nathan D was cooking, but that is amazing. But to have have Clove's first debut in VCT to be a triple controller comp double initiated on Icebox is amazing. So, massive shout out there for fl1p Phoenix, but they are now the only team to actually got undefeated in China. Obviously, they won against Edward Gaming, obviously. So, only undefeated team, pretty good there for FPX. A good momentum boost, a good morale for the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they aren't playing another game. I'm pretty sure. So that's it now for FPX for this regular season. We'll say up until the playoffs. So at least they now have some time to prep before whoever their opponent is going to be. So really excited for FPX, and they should make it to Master Shanghai. If they don't, I'm gonna be pretty worried there for FPX. And finally, the second team which I think should make it to Master Shanghai is Edward Gaming, as they beat out All Gamers pretty convincingly. Can't get MVP, not surprised whatsoever. It's Edward Gaming. What else do I really have to say? I mean, what else do I really have to say about Edward Gaming? They are just so much better against all the other Chinese teams. And I know that they're going to be pulling a crowd in Master Shanghai if they make it. If they don't, that'll be a massive disappointment there for EDG, because they have not missed a single international event, I'm pretty sure, ever since they crashed into the scene in 2022, I believe. So they should make it, but if they don't, I'll be very, very disappointed in them. Alright, EMEA now, as we first start off with Koi, as they won a very surprising game against Team Vitality, obviously with only one matchup in 1-0. Shadow gained MVP. This was the last thing I expected from Koi. From where they were at like the beginning of the stage, where they were just shocking and absolute clown fest, they have slowly improved, and they did beat a very struggling Team Vitality, which I'll get into them later. But Koi, really, really happy with how they performed. I think Cameron was also pretty good there as well in this game as well. So this is a good starting as well for Koi. We'll see if they continue that to stage 2. I highly doubt it, because guess what happened in kickoff? They were really good in kickoff, and then at the start of stage 1, they flopped. So there's a possibility that Koi could be really good, but I want to see more. Because it's a very small sample space of like 2 matches where they were actually good, and the rest would just be shit in stage 1. So we'll see. We'll see how they're going to stage 2, but I hope that they are at least more competitive, we'll say, from where they were in Stage 1. Let's now move on to Giant X as they beat up BBL Esports, Purple again MVP. Very impressive there from Giant X. I mean, I guess it gave them. I guess it kind of like Koi, I'll be honest, where they just slowly improved. But obviously, the difference between Koi and Giant X is that Koi actually was really good in kickoff, Giant X was not. But Giant X, they kind of continue from where they were in kickoff, where they were just kind of just bottom of the field. And I guess it also shows as well that Rhyme as the IGL was so impactful for this team. And as well, Nookie is now off the team, Purpo is now in. I don't know if those were the correct changes. I don't know what was happening behind the scenes. Obviously, Rhyme, he retired to, I'm pretty sure, do some education, I believe. Nookie, I'm not really too sure what really happened to him unless he wanted out of the team. But I don't know about it, obviously, because I don't know of obviously the behind the scenes in Giant X or really at all in any team, I'll be honest. But this is an alright showing there for Giant X, and I don't think they're going to continue this in Stage 2 because they're kind of like up and down, but they're mainly like pretty shit, I'll be honest. So we'll see, but considering they're not out of play contention, we'll see how they go though. Gentlemates, they lose against Team Liquid, the maybe the weirdest team Gentlemates is. Like Gentlemates, they are just up and down. Like one point they'll be like the best team in the world, and then at one point they look like an absolute clown fest. It's kind of where actually no, it's kind of what EU is actually right now. This region, also no offense, but this entire region of EMEA in Stage 1 has just been an absolute clown fiesta. Like there's just been weird ass results, weird ass stuff that's been happening. Obviously, I'll get into the group alpha stuff because actually no, my judgment is not group alpha, but we actually get into group alpha team where I'll talk about it. But Gentlemates as a whole against Team Liquid, I just they've just been whatever, just shit. Takas, he was MVP, yeah, but they were just shit. They were just pretty bad against Team Liquid. So I got nothing else to say. Generally, I got nothing else to say about Gentlemates because they are just a very mid team in my opinion. All right, Team Vitality now, and I think they were also League Power Group Alpha. Let's talk about Group Alpha first before we talk about Team Vitality. Let's look at the elephant in the room. Every single team went 3-3. 3 wins, 3 losses. I have never seen that in my entire life of existing, which kind of also shows how shit the format is for Stage 1 as a whole, because if all the teams are 3-3, they're that like what are you supposed to do in that situation? Obviously, it was because of map differentials, but it just shows a massive flaw in the system that Riot gave. That it's just such a shit system that why bother? Why bother with it? But sure, why not? Whatever. But for Vitality, to say I'm disappointed is a massive understatement. Like they have promising players. Trex, who was MVP, Runner, Kicks, Safe, and then have Sender, who's the IGL for the team. I expected so much from this team in Stage 1. Like they were pretty competitive in kickoff, and then here they are just shit. Like what happened to this team that I have such high hopes for, and I'm just basically a massive Team Vitality fan that they are just falling off. What happened to them? Like obviously, yeah. Like I'll say this, I have not watched any EU games because it starts at freaking 2 a.m. for me. There's no way I'm gonna be watching those matches. So I just like this. I'm just baffled over this Vitality team that they lost to Koi out of all teams. It's just I hope they can turn this around because on paper it's kind of like what I said in the Wolves section in China, that they actually have some really good players. They have some great pieces. It's just not working because all the other rosters are just better than them. I'll be honest. So they should be middle of the pack, but they're at like the lower half of the field. So I'm getting a bit worried there for Vitality. So they need to change something. Team Liquid, they beat that Gentlemates, which should obviously be expected. Naskin MVP, and Team Liquid, they somehow made it to the playoffs. I don't know how, but they were sixth there or fifth, I should say, for the entirety of Stage 1, and they somehow made it to the playoffs. I don't understand how. because it just shows well once again how stupid the system is in the format of stage one. Like if a team is always at the bottom of the group that they're in, why are they still in contention to make the playoffs? Oh god, I mean, I at least seem like we'll be an early exit because they're gonna be up against Fnatic, right? I hope they are. If not, I'm chalked. I'm done. Team Heretics, they beat Carmichael. They get their revenge also on K Corp. Benji Fish again MVP. Team Heretics, they were really good. I guess now with Woot in the lineup, they now have I guess they now have the true firepower from from basically what they expected them to be. So now with Heretics now in the playoffs, I think Carmichael's also now in the playoffs as well, which obviously I'll get into them later. But Heretics, very, very solid team. Definitely surprised me throughout this entire year as of right now. And I hope they continue to impress me because I really like this team. I obviously, yes, I think majority of them are very, very young. I think the oldest is like, I think it's probably is Boo, I believe. Like they have like a bunch of obviously like they also have a bunch of 18-year-olds like not Benji Fisher. I think Benji Fisher's I think in his 20s, I believe. Or maybe he's 19 actually, I really don't know. Like Ryan's, Mini Poo as well, Root. They have a lot of young players that can flourish and cherish into their system. So I generally hope that Heretics does well in this season because I've really been enjoying like how they've been going in EU. So really impressive there from Team Heretics. Now, Fnatic, they have fallen up in grades from once they were the top team of EU to now be a mid-pack team. I don't think so. I don't think they're mid-pack. Don't worry. They did lose against Navi. Althea was MVP, and I don't know what the hell has been happening with Fnatic. Maybe because of the coaching with Elmo putting down the head coach, but they should really be from. They should really like still be where they were last year, where they were like contending from every single championship. But now they're struggling, and now they're gonna be versing as Team Liquid. Should be easy. Keyword should be. I like for them, they're just up and down. Like they are just like I expected them to be really, really good, and then they just flopped massively from where they were last year. Like I think I okay, I'll say this. I think everyone on this team in Fnatic have stepped back massively. Chronicle stepped back, Dorica stepped back, Althea, Boser. Leo has been alright. I think maybe Leo might be like the only shining light, but at the same time, he like every team, like so every player has taken a step back. Maybe because of Elm Putty, maybe because of something else. I have no idea. Like I think I remember thinking first week. I'm pretty sure. I think the manager said that all the players were sick or something, so they didn't have time to practice. But now you've had like weeks of practice, and you lose against Navi, which is yes like your biggest competition. But in retrospect, you should probably be beating them. I think it was a very close game there. It was 2-1, but you should probably be beating them if you're Fnatic. So pretty disappointed there for Fnatic. Like they have lost some pretty easy games, but they've just been very disappointed, I'll be honest, from Fnatic. Very, very disappointed with them. I guess the team I'm more disappointed about is BBL Esports. The amount of praise I gave them, because I think as well, I think someone has also commented my EU pick and my EU tier list that BBL was better than I ever expected them to be. Like they were way, way better. But when they lost against Giant X and Foot, oh god. When they lost against Giant X, that's when I lost it. Like I was like, are you serious? You lose against that team where they have been mediocre at best and you lose to them. Seriously. Elito, he got MVP for Giant X and against Foot. That was Kishner X. But it still is not good enough for BBL. They were in the top. Okay, they were in top. I'm pretty sure they were first in Group Alpha in their own group. I think now they were fifth. They were fifth. They had the possibility of basically being a Cinderella of the story of making it to the playoffs from where they were in kickoff, where they were just shit, and somehow making it to playoffs, which would be phenomenal for BBL. But no, they choked against Giant X and Foot. I am super disappointed BBL from giving them so much praise in episode 1, and now they perform like this. That is absolutely nah. that's just not good enough for BBL. I'm just disappointed. I am more disappointed in BBL than Vitality, because at least Vitality, they were kind of like hovering like the third and fourth region. BBL, they were first, and they basically go down and lost. I am disappointed in this team. I think the players and coaches, all of them should be very disappointed in themselves, because that is horrendous showing from this team. A much better showing though from Na'Vi, as they beat out Fnatic. Arda's getting an MVP. Arda's, he's now back to his 2022-2021 form when he was like in G2. Really happy that Arda's now back. Obviously, he did play the Jet, and he was just like that. He was just really good. So really happy there for Ardes and hot in terms of Na'Vi, because last year was just a nightmare. Like, they were not competitive in the international stage. They were alright I mean the regular season for EU, but they have just turned up a notch. They have turned up massively from where they were last year, where they were upset by Edward Gaming first, Monster Shanghai, and I'm pretty sure they didn't even. I think they were lost in their group as well in Champions. And to now be where they are now in EU, it's a good showing for them, and I hope they continue this if they make it to if they do make it to Monster Shanghai. I hope they continue this, and I hope they at least maybe make it to top four. In my opinion, if they don't make it to top four, that's a bit of a disappointment. That's a very much of a disappointment there for Na'Vi. Now, the other Turkish team for esports have been pretty impressive in this stage. They obviously win against BBL, Krax gained MVP. I'm very impressed with Foot. They've been really good, very impressive. So it's a good showing there from Foot, and obviously a good showing there for the team. When they make it to the play, obviously now they made it to the playoffs. They have the first bye round, so whoever they will be versing, I think it's gonna be either Navi or Heretics, I believe. So they have a pretty good chance of making it to Master Shanghai, and they should make it to Master Shanghai. They really should, from how they've been performing in this stage. They should make it to Master Shanghai, because this Foot team is now like the Turkish superstar. This is now Loud. This is the Turkish version of Loud now. So they should theoretically at least should make it to Master Shanghai, but knowing EU, anything can happen in that region. And finally, the last team is Carmichael, as they did lose against Team Heretics. Tomas getting MVP, and I'll be honest, no one was really there. Like, I guess it was like mainly like Martin and Tomasi. They were like maybe like the only like shining light of the team in that match. But shit, he was nowhere. No, right, he was nowhere. Magnum, he was alright, but it was mainly like Tomasi and Martin. Both of them have like made some great plays, but like Carmichael, this is not a good showing there for this team from where they were in kickoff, and now here I'm getting a bit worried for them. And now, well, I'll say this: they do have a bye round, so they have a bit more time to prep for their opponent. It'll either be Fnatic or Team Liquid. If it is Fnatic, they did win against them in kickoff, and if it is Liquid, I'm pretty sure they did win against them in the regular season. Might be wrong, or maybe they never did. I actually can't remember. But either way, this should, like, Common Core should also make it to Monster Shanghai. It's kind of like what it is as well. Like theoretically, Common Core should make it to Monster Shanghai. But if they don't, I'll be a bit worried for them. Like, if they make it from the low bracket, I'll be a bit worried, but like, okay, at least they made it. But if they don't make it at all, I will be a bit worried for this team from where they were in kickoff, where they dominated and they looked like a completely different team. And yeah, they didn't have a they were all right in Madrid, but to be fair, both Heretics and Karma Corp, both of them were kind of shite there. But theoretically, Karma Corp should make it to the playoffs. But like I said in the foot section, anything can happen in EU, because EU is such a cesspool. Alright, now let's now move on now to Pacific, which is the only region to have actually started their playoffs. So we're going to be talking about the end of, I think, the end of the regular season and the playoffs. So DFM, they were gone. They didn't play a single match this week. They were just gone. I hope that they can learn from their massive amount of mistakes and at least as well make some roster changes. But I just don't know what changes I would really make, because I mean, I can't. All the players kind of like. I guess maybe you can maybe keep May, Medusa, maybe. Who else? Like, I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why you still have Papagachi there. At least I guess maybe give like maybe a Papagachi maybe a chance
of playing, but I highly doubt that they will, I'll be honest. Bleed, they were eliminated from playoff contention immediately after they lost against DRX, Retlug, and MVP. And this team, oh, like, it's actually really sad to see Bleed struggle this much. Like, there was such high hope for this team. I remember like everyone was like saying, "Oh, Bleed, they're gonna be like top 4, top 5." I think I even said it as well that they were gonna be like top 5 or even like in like mid pack. But no, they are like maybe the worst team in Pacific game. It's quite depressing to see, but I hope that they improve. I genuinely do hope that they do improve, but if they do make some roster changes, I expect some big ones because they need to make at least maybe 2 roster changes or even 3 at least. I don't know what like the limit is of like how many roster of like how many players you can get rid of, because I know like in some other games where I think there's like a roster limit that like you can't have like you can like make like I don't know like you can have like you can only have like majority of your roster still in that roster. Like you can probably make only like 2 changes maybe to your roster, and that's really about it. I don't know what the rules are with roster changes, but I just hope I'd like to make some changes because this is getting a bit ridiculous for this team. A team which I'm very disappointed about is A Division still. They did lose against T1, Yormike again MVP, and where's Depp? Where's Laz? Where's Sugar Zero? Where were they? I think it was just rookies. I think the rookies were really, really good here against T1. But the others, like the veterans, they were nowhere. And I am getting worried for this team because I thought from where they were in kickoff, I thought they were gonna be pretty mid, they're gonna be alright, they're gonna be up there, competing for maybe a possible spot maybe for Master Shanghai. No, they were pretty shit in their group. So that is very disappointing to Z Division and the entirety of the Japanese fan base because now even DFM, another Japanese team, is still a bit of a laughing stock. Maybe not as much as Bleed, but still a bit of a laughing stock for DFM, and Zeta also coming there as well as a bit of a laughing stock. So Zeta, they need to make some changes at least between stage 1 and stage 2. Global Esports, just like DFM, did not play at all in this week, but they were eliminated from pleb contention. I don't know what else to really say about this team. I mean, Pulver, he was alright in this stage. Lion Fuzz, he impressed, including Benkai. Blaze King, he was alright. Russ, he was decent at best. But I know there's gonna be a lot of I guess like a lot of like proud global esports fans that want to make changes, but I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, they'd be kind of alright. I mean, you can easily get like another player from like the South Asian side. You can easily get one, but as a whole, they can actually build off this and they can improve into stage 2, in my opinion. So global, they could actually be alright. They could be pretty good when stage 2 arrives. Team Secret, this was the first team pretty sure to be eliminated from playoff contention as they were up against T1. But before they were up against T1, they also lost against Talon Esports, which I think there was a bit of a rivalry there. I'm pretty sure with between Secret and Talon, but I think the main one was against Talon and Papers, which we'll get into later. But they lost both of them. NDG was MVP on Talon, while Jeremy he was MVP on T1. I don't know what Secret could do. I mean, yes, they did. Yes, they added Coach Dummy into the lineup, but that was like before the playoffs, or maybe Dummy he was there for the entirety of Stage 1. And if that was the case, then all right. But like, it's weird because like it's really weird that they have like they have American coaching Filipinos. Like, yes, obviously Dummy is like I'm pretty sure does have some Filipino descent, but it's kind of weird that there's like American coaches probably like American coaches actually like coaching like a Filipino team, which is kind of strange. But either way of that, ignoring that, they've been just kind of alright. They've always been up and down, very incredibly inconsistent like from where they were just like the stage 1 where they were pretty good and then kind of fell off. I mean, NDG, he has been a very promising rookie. He has made a lot of impactful plays and stuff with Team Secret especially, but I mean everyone else has kind of been struggling. Borkum, I haven't seen a lot of Borkum time, and Envy has been extremely quiet as well. Jesse Bash, he's also been quiet, but he has had some pretty good plays, and I think in my opinion he's a very respectable IGO, and maybe the best IGO in Philippines. Like who else can you really replace Jesse Bash with in the IGO role? No one really. So, like, if there was an up and comer a up and comer IGL Filipino player, then they could easily maybe take Jesse Vasher's spot. But as of right now, I don't think there's really any IGLs that are in the capable area of where Jesse Vasher is as of right now. RRQ, they were also eliminated from playoff contention. I can't actually remember how, but they did. It's weird because they won against Gen G, but I'm pretty sure they were already eliminated as well. It's like this weird thing. It's kind of where like I think it was like MIBR. I think like kickoff where they won against G2, but it didn't matter because they missed out on the playoffs. It's kind of that same situation. Gem can get an MVP like he always does, but if Gen G did lose, obviously now with RRQ, with Flip possibly gone, I should be worried if I'm RRQ because I mean you can easily get like another Indonesian talent, but you can really get to really replace Flip. Like if you want to keep your Indonesian talent, keep all of your Indonesian fans happy, you probably should get another player in that region. But I mean, who is in that maybe in that caliber? Eeyore, maybe possibly Eeyore, Berserk X, or maybe I don't know. I don't think Berserk X is actually in the initiative role, which is where Flip plays. But either way, you know what I mean. Like, if you want to have another Indonesian player, who do you really have to? Who should you replace Flip with? Because like no disrespect to the Indonesian players, but they're not really in the same caliber as where like Flip, Elmo, and Zafira are, because because all three of them have been grinding it out like with like Boom Esports, which you could definitely look at, but Boom they struggled in the no, did they struggle? Or was it Alter Ego? No, no. Boom did lose it against Alter Ego in the grand final, so maybe you should maybe look at both teams maybe, but I don't really know. It's a bit of a tricky situation where RRQ is. I mean, you can easily put 2GE in the lineup, but you saw from how they played against Global, they were kind of shit. So I don't really think they should really add 2GE in the lineup, in my opinion. But we'll see how they go. We'll see what RRQ does with Flip. If Flip does leave, who are they going to replace Flip with? Is it going to be 2GE or is it going to be another player? We'll have to wait and see. Talent Esports, they made quite a lot of noise in the playoffs. Obviously first winning against Team Secret to punch that ticket into playoffs. But then there was this whole bit of rivalry with Frost talking a lot of shit to Paper Rex, basically saying, "Oh, it's gonna be a done deal." Uh, Getting 13-0 on the first map was maybe not on Frost's deal. Yikes. But either way, ignoring the 13-0 from by Paper Rex, they were alright. Like they were just alright against Paper Rex. I'll say they made it very competitive with a 2-1 victory, even though yes for Paper Rex, but they made it very, very competitive. Ben was MVP, I think in Team Secret, because I think he did like like an amazing ace, I'm pretty sure. And Cruz, he was MVP on against Paper Rex. I'll say this though, Ben on talent is way better from where he was in T1. Like where he was in T1, he was kind of shit. Like they didn't really use him well. But here in Talon, they've been using him pretty well. Like he's been given some opportunities to actually play the duelist role, but also still playing Smokes occasionally, and maybe that's really about it. So they have been using Ben well, and I think better from where T1 was using him. But I mean, from all the shit talk that Frost was given to Paper Rex, it's quite embarrassing that you lose 13-0 in the first map. Very, very embarrassing there for Talon. But yeah, I but I'll say it as well. It was so much fun watching like the split screen of both coaches just shouting at each other. It looked like they were both were just having an argument. It was so funny. So it shows how passionate both coaches are. But at the same time, if you talk shit to another team, you need to back it up with results because that was a shit result from Talon. Maybe the biggest surprise of the entirety of VCT is T1, as they not only made it to playoffs, but was also the first team to punch a ticket to Master Shanghai. They won against Zeta, Team Secret, and Genji. I actually forgot to talk about that actually, of course, Zeta, but either way, it was amazing showing them from T1. Like side play, he was MVP on both Zeta and Gen G, I believe, and Rossi. He was MVP in Team Secret. I don't know what T1 had, But I'm just so impressed on where they were at the beginning of like maybe midway through the stage where they were like absolutely shocking, and also is about the first team to lose against DFM to then making the Master Shanghai is amazing resilience from this team. Like I could also talk shit about about the past from T1, but all I can say about T1 is how impressed I am. Like having Xcrit as the IGL because he has also the IGL in these like type of games before was in CS with Tyloo, and as well like in, I guess as well like in like multicultural languages. Like he was part of Tyloo, which is a Chinese team. I'm impressed with T1. Like I there's not enough like superlatives I can really say about this team other than they were just phenomenal. They were amazing. They were like a new team that has brought up in the light. So T1, I'm happy that I made the Master Shanghai, and I'm happier that they bounced back from their embarrassing loss against DFM to then win 3 games in a row and make the Master Shanghai. I am very, very impressed with this team. The second team which will be joining T1 in Master Shanghai is PaperX. Yes, both of the Sacento brothers have made it to Master Shanghai. They won against Talent and DRX, something an MVP on both games. And PaperX, they look, I hate to say this, but they look really, really good now without Meunier. Jing back in the lineup has helped this team massively. Like, I'll be honest, I think if Meunier was in the lineup, they could have actually maybe lost against Talon. There is actually a possibility that they not only lose against Talon, but if they do win against Talon, they also lose against DRX. So it shows how much like basically how much impact Jing brings to the team. And but you have to feel for man, yeah. Like you signed for the team thinking that you were gonna be in the starting roster to replace Jing because of military service, and then you get replaced by Jing to then only win against DRX, who I'm pretty sure have not lost in this entire stage up until then. So it just shows of just how amazing Paper X is now with now with Jing. So very, very impressed now with Paper X, but you do have to feel bad there for Manyan. He's just, I can tell he's definitely like punching the table by now. Speaking of DRX, let's now talk about them. As they also played 2 matches against Bleed and Paper X. They won against Bleed, but they lost against Paper X. Bane was MVP on Bleed, and then Fox9 was MVP against Paper X. Where were they against Paper X? Like, all of them were like full in asleep. Fox9, he was pretty good and was also the only player that should go positive. Everyone else was just asleep. Sax especially was just asleep. He was snoozing. I don't know what happened to this team. Like, now they're in the low bracket, and now they have one chance of making it to Master Shanghai. They have not made it to any international event, obviously. Obviously, it's just one sample space of Madrid. But from where, basically, from where they are now, I'm a bit worried for DRX and as well for the next team on our list, Gen G. I am extremely worried for this team as well. From winning kickoff, making it to the grand final Masters of Madrid, to now being in the lower bracket and losing against RRQ and T1. Texture was MVP on both of them, and I'm very worried for this Gen G squad. Oh god, like it's not like they haven't. It's not from where they were in kickoff. Like it's not the same performance. They have dipped. Seriously, they have dipped from where they were in kickoff. I am worried for both of Genji and DRX because one of them is going home and one of them is not gonna make it to Master Shanghai, and one of them is gonna be pissed, one of them is gonna be happy. It's just I'm worried because Genji theoretically should be better than DRX, but from what we've seen in this stage, DRX should be better than Genji, but both of them are now in like the same level picking field now in the playoffs. Like, how in the world can you impress one like in like one part of the stage, fall off in the playoffs, and then basically like do the basically like just do the opposite? I don't know. Like it worries me as a fan and as an analyst as well. I guess was like analyst, very very generous of me of calling me that. Well, I should say calling myself that. It worries me that both of these teams, which were top of their game at some point in Pacific, to now being only having like one spot left in Master Shanghai, I I don't have words other than like I hope whoever wins should be happy and should be celebrating like they won the freaking grand final, because both of these teams should have made it to Master Shanghai by now. They should have maybe won the matches, but maybe not DRX. But Genji should have definitely won against T1, and they didn't. So my bet is probably maybe DRX will get to win that, because Genji they just look lost. They look incredibly lost. Like now, like if Genji do lose against DRX, people are then gonna say that that kickoff championship was just a fluke. Like, it generally wasn't, because they were just really good in kickoff, and they backed it up as well in Master Madrid. But I haven't seen that same magic from where they were in kickoff. So they need to change something. They need to bring something back, because this team is looking very dire right now. Alright, now with VCT now done, let's now talk about challenges. And first up with Brazil, as Hero Base makes an incredible low bracket run to win Split 1. It was a 3-1 grand final win against Red Canids, while Olimpo and Koa both of them will be in the relegation. So the results, as you can see on the side, it includes Hero Base, Red Canids, 2Game Esports, Legacy Galleries, Stellar Gaming, TBK Esports, XLD Gaming, and the 9th and obviously being Olimpo and Co-op. Now to the EU region of Dash, CGN Esports continues to make a statement in the Dash region after winning against Mouse 2-1 in the grand final. Alternate Attacks and Rizon, both of them will also be in the relegation tournament as well. And the results as well, once again, include CGN Esports, Mouse, SK Gaming, Focus, Division, Ovation Esports, Interact, Frankfurt, Unicorns of Love, Alternate Attacks, and Rizon. And finally, my region, Oceania, as Jichao Bonk, I think that's how you pronounce the name, I'm very sorry if I mispronounced that, continues their Oceania dominance after struggling in the group stage. 3-1 against Arena Internet Cafe, while the 9 through 16 teams will be in the promotion / relegation. So, as you can see the results as well. It was Yushao Bonk gained first place, and then followed by Arena Internet Cafe, JFT Esports, and Bobo. 5th through 6th includes Focus, UG, and Edge. 7th through 8th includes Robin Pug and IPGN. And then 9 through 16 teams, all of them will be in the promotion / the relegation tournaments, which includes Arcade Esports, Fun Crew, Cooper Troopers, Club Penguin, Coconut, Crushing People, Indian Greed, Afterlife Esports, and Zoo Gang. So that's really about it for the second episode of This Week in VCT. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.